Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me on my workbench. Today I am showing you a couple examples of repairs I did in the past few days. I didn't have a recording set up at all in order to show what I was doing with any of this, but what I can do is tell you about what I found and how I got there. I did take plenty of pictures, so I can put those up. First off, I got 3 Dell WD19 or 19S computer docks. These are USB-C input. Over here goes to a Dell laptop, or really any USB-C Thunderbolt compatible laptop. And then it gives you a bunch of ports that you can run with. You can run with, you got your power for the dock here, then you got Ethernet. There should be a USB 3 2-port connector there. Problem was on the other units that I had, these blue plastic inserts that hold onto the terminals were wrecked, and so the terminals were messed up, didn't work. But the problem with them, well, 2 of the units had bad USB ports, and one of them didn't have any Ethernet. Now, this specific dock had a USB-C issue where you would plug it into the computer, or plug in a device on the main USB-C, and it would cycle the power on and off. It just wouldn't charge anything, and then actually caused my iPhone to reboot at one point. But I figured, I tried figuring out what was going on with that, wasn't able to, and so I decided to make this one a parts board to fix the other 2. What we had going on the other 2 were USB-Cs, except one of them had a Ethernet problem. And so I checked all the components I could in between the port, and there is supposed to be a chip right there. And zoom in as good as I can. It's supposed to be a chip right there. And that is the Ethernet controller, I'm assuming. Don't really know. But what I did do is remove that from the board that was having the Ethernet issues. Put the one from this board on there, and the Ethernet works perfectly. 1 gig signal. Now the other unit I worked on was a Sony 4K projector, and I can have a link to some pictures and a write-up about what I did on that. But essentially what I found was on this HDMI switch chip, which switches between 2 HDMI inputs on the outside, and then has the HDMI output over here to the main controller. It's actually an FPGA in that unit that runs the HDMI to display on the projector screen. What I found was a short between the data lines on one of the HDMIs and ground. It was through this chip. Once I removed this chip, that short disappeared, and so bought a new one on eBay. About 3 weeks later it arrived. Put that in. One of the HDMIs worked and the other didn't. So I knew that the chip was functioning fine. Maybe there was an issue on the specific side of the chip for the HDMI that wasn't working. But what I did find is that HDMI inputs are going to have some filters on the lines, on the data lines. And if you look, let's see if I can find it. If you look right here, you got an HDMI, and then you got something to point with. Right there, we have those filters. Basically, they decouple any noise as far as I understand, and you should have continuity between this pin and this pin on one side, and this pin and this pin on the other side, but no continuity between them. Now, what I found on the Sony projector was that there was no continuity through those filters. So I actually was able to grab 2 filters from this dock and repair that projector fully functioning. Ran it for about 5 hours on each input. Went back and forth at the end of it just to make sure that nothing changed, and that projector is working. Now, one of the big things with these chips is specifically there is a fat pad on the bottom. That's a grounding pad and a heat sink. So without this being soldered down, this chip will actually overheat and fail. So if you ever decide that you're going to try to replace one of these, you really need to have a hot air station. I use a off-brand 959D hot air station. here, and works well for me. But make sure you get that guy soldered down so you don't have a near future failure after you went through all the work of disassembling the projector and putting it back together just to do that repair. Other than that, hopefully I can get some more content for you in the future. I need a few more items. I need to get a few more items into repair, and as soon as I can do that, I'll get some footage and get that up for everybody and talk through my repair, and hopefully have some actual live repairs done to put on this channel. Anyways, thank you for joining me on this little adventure, a little synopsis of my adventure, and I hope you have a great day.